What is going on, guys? Alex and welcome back to Gaming Time 123. I am redoing the Haunted, I guess what it's called, the Battle of Haunted, due to the fact that the Haunted stream that I did get cut out at some point. So there's only like 20 minutes of the actual video. So we're going to redo that. So it is the Haunted deck. Now, the basis of the Haunted deck is a black base deck and has the mechanic Haunted in it. That is the whole base point of the deck. Haunted, in context, is a mechanic that says you can cast a spell for an alternate cost and play on the battlefield or into the graveyard, and the spell becomes haunted. There's a slight difference in how, if anything goes to the graveyard, it was haunted. It is still haunted, technically going into the graveyard, but then it vanishes after that. So we're going to go ahead and do that one here. There are a lot, and it's an entirely black deck. As you see, every spell has, you may cast a spell for its haunted cost. If you do, place a haunted counter on the spell, and it becomes haunted. And then something happens if the spells are haunted. First one we got is Haunted House. Haunted House is for 3 for haunted, 2 for not haunted, and whenever a Haunted House or another haunted spell enters, you create a 1/1 Ghosted Flying. In this mechanic, I think haunted it would enter not haunted. Even if you made it haunted, it just means there'd be extra stuff that would happen if it wasn't. So you just, whenever it enters Haunted House, you get Spirit with a 1/1 Ghosted Flying. The next one is going to be the End Executioner. And all these cards were made on MTG Cardsmith. Legendary creature, it is a zombie. It also can be haunted for 4. And it casts for 3. And if you paid its haunted cost, you can destroy up to 1 target creature. Whenever an Undead Executioner deals damage to a creature or planeswalker, destroy that creature or planeswalker. It's a pretty high one up there. It is an uncommon. Haunter of Souls, one of the main creatures that could be ridiculous in this one. When you cast or copy a spell, if it was haunted, you can sacrifice the copy at the end of your next step. So, you cast a spell, it's haunted. Because if that is haunted, you get a copy of that, and that copy goes away at the end of the turn. And its ward pay 5 life and a lifelink for 8/8. It costs 7. It's a Horde Demon. Legendary creature. Haunted Possession. There is a mechanic, or there is a extra thing about in every one of the regular colored decks that says that is basically exactly the same. This is similar to Act of Treason. It's not Act of Treason exactly, but it has some of the mechanics like Act of Treason. For example, this one says gain control of target creature until your turn. Untap that creature. If the haunted cost was paid, you can sacrifice that creature at end of turn. It does not give the creature haste. There's a good thing to know about that. It doesn't give them haste, and none of the other ones do that as well. The next one we got is Fate Sealed. It is either a 1 or 2 black, 1 or black, and you can pay 100 for 2. Enchant creature. Enchant creature must attack each combat if able. If a haunted cost is paid, place a negative 1/1 counter on enchanted creature. It makes it a little bit weaker, and enchant creature must attack every turn. It has to be specifically 2 black. You can't pay 2 extra mana for it in that regard. The next card is the Haunted Pumpkin. It is an artifact. You can pay for 3. You can sacrifice to destroy target creature with mana cost 3 or less. If you cast it for its haunted cost, instead you restore target permanent with mana cost 3 or less. It is basically destroy a creature with mana cost 3 or less, or destroy a permanent that is mana cost 3 or less. So technically means you can do it. You can destroy a land if you wanted to. We got the Haunted Dog. The Haunted Dog has first strike. It's 1/2. It can be haunted. You can pay it for haunted. It doesn't really do anything in addition to it for it being haunted. It's just a haunted creature. The Undead Doctor. You can give a target creature regenerate. It does not have haunted itself. And the next one would be destroyed. Instead tap it and remove all damage from it. And then remove it from combat until end of turn. So every creature is going to have regenerate until end of turn. You pay 1, give a creature a regenerate, pay 1 more for it, and then it regenerates. It has hexproof itself. The Pumpkin Mask. It is a spell, is a artifact equipment that you can pay haunted. I didn't put the entire haunted thing in this one, but it has +2/+0 and has fear. And it can be blocked with except by artifact creatures or black creatures. And you equip it for 8. When it enters, if it was haunted, which means you did pay the haunted cost for it, you equip it. You can automatically equip it to target creature. So either it costs 5 to automatically equip it to a creature, or it costs 2 and then costs 8 later. So it could take you a while just to get to that one on the field. The Vampire of the House. Vampire of the House is a haunted for 8. Costs 5 regularly. It's a vampire. Whenever a Vampire of the House attacks, each opponent loses 1 life. And if the Vampire House is haunted, then it has Bloodthirsty 2. Whenever if the opponent is dealt damage this turn, then it gets +2 extra counters on it. It only works if you dealt damage though. Which there's some mechanics, but not much. Blade Hunter. It's a 3 black cost creature or 5 mana to get haunted. And if it's haunted, it has double strike. It's a 3/2. Not much else mechanically. Haunted Warrior. Cost haunted. You can cast a spell if it for its haunted cost. It costs 4 for haunted. And whenever it or another haunted creature, you get a 1/1 ghost of flying. We will get to ghost eventually, I think. I don't know if we have it yet. That's basically it. House Cat Lady. And it enters. No, when House Cat Lady it enters. I'll have to come back and edit that, I think. Create 2/1 cats with menace. It's a dark cat warrior. There's a cat as a 1 with menace. The next one is Creeper. The Creeper is a weird card. When a Creeper attacks, each opponent gets the 3/3 Horror, which is another token that you can get in this deck. When you cast a spell, you lose 1 life, and a creature can't attack. If a creature is haunted, then it gets 2 of them instead. So pay 1 more for it, and it becomes haunted instead, which is really annoying. I think that's coming out. We'll get to that eventually. Here's the Horror. Horror is when you cast a spell, you lose 1 life. It's a 3/3 that can't attack. They can block though, I guess. That's the not a great thing, but it's not bad. Okay, every deck has a creature based off, or a main creature. Lemura is this one's. It is the Dream Nightmare. Whenever you tap a creature an opponent controls, you place a stun counter on it. Then you can pay 2 to tap a creature an opponent controls. And when a stun counter is placed on a creature, that creature's controller loses life equal to its power, which is a lot. So you don't want to pay higher creatures if you have that mechanic. Haunted Dragon. Every deck has a dragon. You can pay 7 and 2 black for Haunted. If it's Haunted, each player draws 12 cards and loses 12 life when it attacks. That's a way to end the game really quickly. And it has Flying and Trample as a bonus to that. So it's a pretty big one. Flame of the Haunted. Each creature you control gets +1/+0. If Flame of the Haunted is haunted, creatures you control get +1/+1. So basically, you can make your creatures to do 2/2/1, or make your creatures +1/+0. Powerful. Haunted Bat, lifelink and flying. And you can make it more powerful by you can make it a 2/1 creature if you wanted to. It's not a very good creature, but it comes down to a lot of things out of it. The Grave Haunter. It's a legendary creature. When a Grave Haunter enters, each opponent creates a 3/3 horror token, which we looked at earlier, that can attack, and when you cast a spell, you lose 1 life. And you can pay 6 to give another one of those tokens to your opponent, along with tapping it. The Bedroom. Yes, it's when if your creature would be destroyed by combat damage, you may return to the battlefield tapped and remove all combat damage from that creature. Basically, it's exile. It's kind of like exile that creature and return it back to the battlefield tapped. That's kind of what it is. It is not haunted, but it's one of those cards that can be really powerful. The Hallway of the Haunted. It's a curse. There are a couple of curses in this deck. It's intended to be a commander deck too. So, Enchant Player. When Enchant Player loses 1 life when a creature taps that player controls. It's a creature, not whenever 1 or more creatures, so you're going to lose a lot more life. That's why it costs so much, though, in the end. We got the Robot Room, which is you can tap any creature, or you can untap it for 2 life or 1 back. And it costs you 5 regularly. And these decks are all 1-color decks currently, so that's the basic idea. Haunted Library. When a haunted creature enters, place a book counter on Haunted Library. You can remove a book counter to scry 1, then draw a card. So basically, you get opt whenever a creature enters the battlefield. That's haunted. We got the Darkest Ritual. So you think about how Dark Ritual works? It's very similar. This card is probably one of the most broken cards in the game, in the possibility. Because in round, you either pay 2 and lose 5 life, and get 5 mana, which allows you to play a lot of stuff, or you can pay 4, you add 5, and you don't lose 5 life, which I think is honestly really powerful. It's a sorcery though, so you want to play it on your turn, not your opponent's turn. Seer of the Dark World. When you cast a haunt spell, scry 2, draw a card. Pay 1 life, return a creature, accrue a card to your hand that you control. I mean, it kind of has to be in your graveyard. Although technically, you can return any enchantments as well to your hand as well. So actually, that could be a ridiculously good card. It just depends. Lamar the Cursed, which is a planeswalker, I believe. Yes. You lose 1 life and draw a card. You can return 3 creatures, 3 cards from your graveyard to your hand, and then those cards cost 1 less if you cast them this turn. It can be your commander as well. So, it's a lot going on here. Ghostly Armor. Equipped creature can't block and gets +2/+2. You equipped to a haunted creature for 1, or you equipped to a creature for 3. It's not haunted, just makes it a little bit more difficult. Weapons Room. It is a free spell. Is it broken? Maybe. Because you can pay 3 for it to be haunted, but you don't have to. Creatures attack can get +2, +1, -1, and if the spell is haunted, your creature's attack can get additional +2, +1. So in context, your creature gets +3, +0 if it's haunted, or you can just make everything +2, -1, which will kill everything that's actually a 1/1. Which is good in some case for some of the decks. Haunted Creep. Yeah. Pay 3 life and black, haunted. Yeah, that's the hauntedness. It has Death Touch and Indestructible if it's haunted. That just shows you it's an absolutely ridiculous card if it has Death Touch and it has Indestructible. So basically, that does cost a lot to put on the field, but it's a pretty interesting mechanic going into it. Blood Wizard. Whenever Blood Wizard or another creature dies, you create a food token. If that creature was haunted, create a haunted food token instead. And haunted food tokens and food tokens are the exact same thing. They're just differently named. And you can sacrifice a creature to gain 2 life. I don't think we're going to get that yet, but Candle. It's a zombie monk, because that makes sense. You can play 1 more for it to make it haunted. And you cast a spell for its haunted cost, place a light counter on Candle. You can remove X light counters from Candle to draw X cards. It's an extra draw mechanic, really. It's not the best card. Definitely not best rare. Struck by Lightning. It does have another mechanic. Called Mystical Colors, which means absolutely nothing for most mechanics anyways. It just is an effect when you could play it in a deck that has multiple colors. Or a deck that doesn't even have that. You can play it in a deck that doesn't share this card's colors. It's kind of like making it devoid in that mechanic. You still have to pay the mana cost for it though, so that is one thing to note about that. Berry, you could pay the haunted cost, exile target creature. If you don't pay the haunted cost, then you exile Berry. So it's a 3-cost, 3-thing exile a target creature, or exile Berry for paying 1 mana. That is how Haunted works. Haunt way in the basement. If haunted creatures can't be blocked unless the defending player plays 2. It doesn't say 2 for each of them, it's just 2 mana. So you have to pay additional 2 mana, which lowers the amount of spells you can cast. Battle of the Haunted. This is the intro spell. 2 dark creatures fight. They are controlled by different players. Haunted creatures can't be destroyed this turn. Basically, the haunted creatures gain indestructible. That's basically the idea. Haunted creatures are indestructible, and then 2 creatures fight. This one's haunted. You have to pay the same amount for it for likelihood, but it's a Changeling. And whenever it deals damage, you create a haunted food token. It doesn't really do much. It's just paying a different mana cost for it. It's a legendary creature though for 0/6. Black Cat. Whenever it enters, each opponent discards a card. There's a similar card that does that. And Black Cat can't be blocked if you control a haunted permanent. So it becomes more powerful if you control haunted permanents. Then the next card is Skullbones. Oh, yeah. You can have as many copies of Skullbones as you want in the deck. It costs 5 for haunted or 4 regularly. Doesn't matter what you do. And its toughness and power equal to the number of haunted permanents and spells you have cast this game. Emphasize have cast. So if you've cast it and was haunted, it counts as if you haunted it. So they have to keep track of how many haunted spells you have done. So if you cast a thing that's not haunted or was haunted, then it becomes haunted. And it makes it more powerful in the end. Parasite is a flying Death Touch Vigilance creature for 1 mana. It's a 2/2. It's a black technically, but it's a pest, which apparently is a card type somewhere. The Library Ghost. Oh, there's a couple of ghosts. This one has another mechanic that we'll talk about and still talk about in a second here. You can pay 3 and either 2 life or black. When a creature enters under your control, you may discard a card and pay 2. If you do, that creature becomes haunted, which makes it easier to do haunted creatures if you just pay additional cost for it. Mice of the House has Ghost Possession, which is another mechanic. It's not really that much of a mechanic. It just means if you control a ghost, then it can't be blocked. It has Death Touch and can't be blocked, and it's a 1/1. The Banshee. The Banshee has Ghost Possession as well. As long as you control Ghost Possession and a Ghost and a Banshee, not including this card. is untapped. Creatures you control can't attack. Untapped creatures you can't attack. Which is weird, like how are you supposed to actually deal with that? But there is another effect that does say pay 2, untap or tap Banshee. Any player can activate this ability. It's a lower amount of extra abilities you can get. The Haunted Kitchen. Haunted Kitchen enters, creates a 1/1 ghost. With flying, I think. And you can make it haunted if you want to for 3. Lamar's Curse, or Cure, sorry, there's a couple of these. Choose target creature. Destroy all permanents attached to attached or equipped to the chosen creature. Use 3 life unless you pay its haunted cost. So it's either pay 2 and 3 life, or you pay 4. Next card is called Lamar the Riser, which is another one that can be a commander. You can create a haunted food token, which I think is the next card. And then you get an emblem that says, when you cast a haunted spell, you create a haunted food token. I think the next one's haunted food. Yeah, so haunted food is exactly the same thing as a food. The only difference is that it's technically haunted. I think it's just a food. It just counts as a food token, though. Living room. Either create 1/1 human, tap it, create 1/1 human, or untap it for 2. Doesn't do much for the mechanics. Date of the Haunted. Return 2 creatures from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. If you paid Date of Haunted Holiday cost, which is the other thing, untap those creatures. So basically, they come to the field untapped if you pay 2 additional mana for it. That is the whole mechanic there. Demon in the House is a lot. It's 10 and 3 black, or 7 and 2 in black. If it's haunted, Demon House can't be blocked and it's indestructible on your turn. Which means nothing but exiling it, but it's a 7/7 that can't be blocked. Becomes really powerful if you pay the haunted cost for it. The next one is Haunted Knife. It's just additional equipped. You can equip it to a creature that's haunted for 0, or you can equip it for 1. The basement, whenever basement enters, creates a 1/1 Ghost of Flying. When our haunted creature enters, choose 1. Either deal 1 damage to any target or place a 1 counter on that creature and tap it. That's not a very good mechanic. It's just a thing out there, though. Ghost of the Attic. When you cast a spell, it targets a creature you control. You create a food token. It also has Ghost Possession. It's a 2/1 for flying. I can't. You get to create X0X Haunted Flowers, where X is that card's mana cost. That's all it does. It's just when you cast on a spell, you create X where it's mana cost. You have the ballroom, and whenever you attack or block, tap 2 permanents you control. You can tap it and draw 3 cards and create 2 haunted food tokens. Dancing with Ghost is return a target creature to the battlefield with a stun counter on it. And you can recast it. Recast the mechanic is that you can play it again from the graveyard if you want to. But it costs 1 more every time you play it. That is how the recast works. Rise from the graveyard. You return 3 creatures to the battlefield. Up to 3 creatures to the battlefield. And you can pay, if you discard it, then you can pay the Magnus cost instead. Which costs 2 less. Enter the house. It's another 0 cost card. Draw a card, discard a card unless you control a haunted permanent. It's a free draw, basically. Rune of Fear. Sacrifice a creature in additional to its mana cost. You create X or 1 Ghost, which we haven't seen yet, but it's something like that. Ghost Giant Fate. You can make any number of creatures you want. 6/6 creatures that you have to sacrifice in the end of your next turn as you pay the mana cost, which costs you 8 more. So that costs you a lot just to be able to do that portion on the field. We had the Butler. Lifelink, and it's a vampire. You can gain 3 life and make your opponent lose 3 life for paying 2 and tapping it. And it's 2/5. Magical Destroy. Destroy a non-land permanent. Nothing special about that card. Flaming Torch. Deal 3 damage to a target. Then you can recast it for either free if you have not cast it, or 1 more every time you cast it. Haunted Trap. Target creature can't equip creature can't attack, block, or use abilities. It has word 3 itself. It's just a mechanical effect that basically your creature not able to attack or block. Zombie Sorcerer. When you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, you destroy that creature. When a non-token creature dies, whenever a non-token creature dies under your control, you create a 10/1 zombie that's indestructible. You can pay a haunted cost for this card. I think the next one is the Haunted Zombie, which is 10/1 indestructible. I don't really know how zombies become indestructible, but that is how the mechanic works. And it is also a haunted zombie. Nevermore. Creature gets -10/10. Not haunted. Burned Alive. Destroy target creature with a ghost possession as long as you control a ghost, exile a creature instead of destroying it. and then you lose 2 life. Either way. The Dark Shadow. It can't be blocked. It is Ghost Possession. Whenever, as long as you control another ghost, place 1 more counter on Dark Shadow. As long as you control another ghost. And then Dark Shadow counts as all colors. Angel of the House becomes a creature. If you cast your 3rd spell, you put 1 counter on it. It becomes a 4/4 creature with flying. No, not with flying. Just becomes becomes a 4/4 creature with flying. It's an angel. Suffering Knife. Yeah, you can pay Haunted. Deal 3 damage to target creature. If your knife is haunted, you deal 7 damage to that creature instead. It's a lot of extra damage you do. Declare your presence. Counter Flash. Counter target spell when this card enters. Pay 1 life, return to your hand. Slowly killing yourself. There's the 1 ghost flying. Hall of Ghosts. At the beginning of your upkeep, you create a 1/1 ghost with flying. Not much else to say about that. It's 4 cost. Forgotten Ghost. If you control no other ghost, it can't attack. It has haste and indestructible. It's a 15/1 creature. So have another ghost and it can attack, basically. And it's haste and indestructible. So have another ghost in the field, you got 15 damage on your opponents. Not legendary, so it can't be commander damage, but still. Rise of the Moon. Creatures that are haunted get +2/+1. Nothing else special about that card. Courtyard. It's a 0 cost. Whenever it enters, you draw 2 cards. It's an artifact. It's just an artifact that doesn't do anything. It just draws you 2 cards when it enters. Double effect. It's a legendary enchantment that says when you attack with a haunted creature, double that creature's power and toughness until end of turn. It's a lot. There's a lot to go there. You double its power and toughness. Haunted Portal. Return a target creature with power X or less to your hand. That's all you have to do. Door of Last Will. You can make a creature's power, target creature's power becomes 1 until end of turn, which is, you could do it on your opponent. So it's like, oh, I'm about to, okay, there's 40 damage going at me, so I'm gonna pay 4 mana. 2 of your creatures are gonna be power 1 now instead. So again, just mechanic for that. Blade of the Haunted. When it enters, attach it to a haunted creature. Creature gets +1/+4, and whenever it attacks, create a 10/1 haunted zombie. That's a lot. And we have, I think, 3 mechanics for the end of this one. Haunted Swamp. It's just a basic swamp. That's all it is. I think it's 3 of them in here. The Haunted House, which is also a basic swamp, pretty much. Then Haunted Swamp. It's basic land. I think there's 1 more. Haunted Exit. Oh, that's actually an artifact that says you can pay 1 life to search life for Haunted Swamp. Haunted Swamp is a basic land. Just to let you guys to point that out. Next card, I think is the last one, is Poison Axe. When equipped creature has a dark enchant equipment, When this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player gains a poison counter if they are paid 2 or black to equip it to a creature. It's a lot of mechanics. And that is all of the haunted mechanics. I'll make sure I put that updates for this deck. And I'll let you know the other 5, there are still 5 of them total. One will be done recently. I will actually just going to show them all. Reforce is being done. Stormbound I did already on a live stream and it did work. I'll be doing Reforced on the live stream as well. And eventually Rage and Protect will both be done as well on live stream. That is all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. For this one, Haunted deck.